Guys, this is not my policy to murder, she wrote. I haven't done that before. In this story, I've been writing murder books, but let's do a murder Andy ex-male Jessica's nephew Rear. And this story is one of the new ones. This is a story I've been working on lately. So Tony Fletcher is Jessica's nephew, and let's go. Tony was sitting on the coffee table in Cabot Cove. In Cabot Cove with Jessica Fletcher sitting there working on one of her stores. Hey, Aunt Jess, Tony said, looking at Jessica. Yes, my nephew? Jessica said, looking up from her writing. I have been thinking. Jessica looked shocked. You have been thinking about something? Jessica asked, a little shocked that Tony has been thinking non-stop lately. About how many cases Mort Metzger has been giving me. To you, it's Sheriff Mort Metzger, but right now you're saying Mort Metzger. Why? Jessica asked, looking shocked about her nephew's change of tone about Sheriff Mort Metzger. It's just being his detective lately. I've been thinking of how silly he's been writing. Jessica stopped what she was doing to listen to her nephew. He pulls up a file that he kept hidden from Jessica's view, giving it to Jessica while she reads it. This is my document, and this is Mort's. Can you read why I say this is kind of weird? Tony indicates, showing Jessica why he's been trying to tell Mort Metzger, aka Sheriff of Cabot Cove, to update his standards of what really happened in her case. And what really happened when Tony adds his detective tree into it. I see the problem, Jessica said. It doesn't match. Pretty much, Tony said. I caught the killer. I told Mort to write what is said. And he still writes the wrong aspect. I wonder why a judge and jury won't plead guilty. Tony said, giving his hand to his head. Every time I tell Mort to write it completely right, I even get his wife involved. Maureen involved, it ends up with Mort getting furious at me. And he says I shouldn't be doing this, but every time Mort asks me being the detective I am for Cabot Cove, he gets so mad at me. I don't know why. Tony said, looking at Jessica. Jessica looked at her nephew, a little thinking cap on. Maybe you should tell the jury and the judge that sometimes Mort forgets what you've been telling him. As in lie to the judge and jury that reading my file is more important than reading the sheriff's reports. Tony said, looking shocked that his aunt said that to him. Well, you have more aspect in life than Sheriff Mort does, said Jessica, trying to make her nephew happy, even though she's hurt her and Mort's feelings. But Aunt, I can't do that. Mort is a sheriff, and I'm just a detective, Tony said, giving his aunt a gloomy look. Yet you're more adamant of getting the right answers, and Sheriff Mort keeps forgetting what you said. And Jessica said, looking shocked that Tony had a tear in his eye. It's just, what if they still go for George Mort said. I'm only 24, Tony said, looking down. Mort has more experience in the law, and I'm just... Hey, don't say that, Jessica said, grabbing her nephew's hand. You have more aspect in life, talking to spirits, listening to more facts and stuff, and knowing more about cases than Sheriff Mort ever would. Jessica said, watching as Tony's mental health was depleting and going more and more into a panic attack. Jessica went and grabbed one of her phones and started calling Andy, telling him to rush over here to calm Tony down, knowing that Jessica can't call him right now. Jessica dialed Andy's number, which was basically the police number for Sheriff's office. Jessica knew Andy would answer, and if Mort answered, she would have some words with Mort if Mort ever answered. Also called and Mort's wife. Let me pause there. I lost the scene. Sorry, I had to go grab one of my books, which is the Mercer Road backstage, and it has here Maureen. So I was right, Maureen, to let her know that Mort has been being mean to Tony lately. After some cases, Tony has been working with Mort. Jessica dialed the number and ended up calling the sheriff's station. Waiting for the final ring, Andy answered. "Hello, Jessica, what's wrong?" Andy asked, feeling worried for Tony's mental health right now. A little tingle in his body telling him something went wrong. "It's Tony," Jessica said. His mental health has gone depleted again. Mort has been causing him trouble. "Yes, I know. I was there when Mort yelled at him for telling him something about the case about the judge and jury last case." "Yes, something about Mort missing something again." "It happened again?" Andy said, freaking out, about to give Mort a piece of his mind, but then stopped. "Please tell Maureen for me to give Mort a big talkie to," Andy said, getting up and heading out immediately. "Where are you going, Andy?" Jessica asked. "To come to your place. Tony needs some comfort." Andy said. Jessica smiled, saying goodbye, and hanged up the phone. She then consoled to think about calling Maureen, but then thought that Tony was still sitting in the kitchen, looking at her, with tears still brimming in his eyes. "Don't worry, nephew, I'm going to call Maureen now." "Please don't. I don't want Mort mad at me," Tony said, a tinge of guilt in his voice. "You did nothing wrong. You were just protecting the innocent person that got murdered, and making sure the killer went to jail, but instead, they only followed Mort's answers. I know, but in terms, you should have did what was right, not what was Mort's job. As sheriff, you knew better more than Mort ever did," Jessica said, calling Maureen. Once the father Maureen answered, Maureen finally talked. "Hello, Jessica," Maureen said. A smiling voice of Maureen smiled. "What happened this time?" Maureen got to the point, knowing that she could hear teary-eyed Tony, little sniffles and cries, knowing his mental health was depleted. Tony and Mort got into a fight again. Again with the case. Mort should have known better to do the answers based on Tony's answering, giving him the right clues and understanding the questions of what really happened. And then the killer was let out, correct? "Yes," Tony whispered. Maureen got what she wanted to know. "I'll let Mort know to go back to the judge and jury and tell the truth that they should have read Tony, even though he's 24. Maureen said, giving a silent voice, but knowing that Jessica knew better as well. "Thank you, Maureen," Jessica said, ending a phone call there, getting up from her seat and hugging her nephew who was been trying not to stab himself with a fork. "Please stop doing that," Jessica said, "but don't let Mort get to you. It wasn't your fault. You're just 24. But yet, I'm smarter than Mort. I'm braver than Mort, and yet Mort always wins. And yet the killer always gets free. Because Mort doesn't write it properly. I know, and you write it all right. And yet they don't read your copy, they read his because he's been there longer. Yes, I know, Aunt Jessica, it's just... They think the first person that Mort catches is the killer, and they lock them up, and the innocent person up, and not the real killer. I don't get it, Tony said, looking down. Every innocent person that Mort catches before I come in is always locked up, and I can't tell why. Tony said, looking shocked that Jessica clenched her hand onto his shoulder. How many people so far? 10. Tony said, every innocent person that Mort seriously thinks is a killer and then calls me for help. And I find the real killer gets away, and the innocent one is always locked up first, and then goes to prison for something they didn't do. Maureen ended up coming immediately with Mort. Just as Tony heard the doorbell ring and heard the bickering of Mort and Maureen, Tony was shaking. He didn't want anyone to find out that Mort had been screwing up more than once. Jessica marched to the door, opened it up, and going outside to bicker with Mort, even more knowing that Tony been doing this for more than Mort has, trying to get the real killer in prison for 10 times each time Mort contacted him for help, instead of Jessica for help. Being a detective of Cabot Cove, he ended up being the worst on every news because he always let the real killer free, but technically it was Mort's fault, not his. And everyone seems to think Tony was at fault. The innocent ones go to prison, while technically Mort was the one that did it. Tony laid his head on the table, the back door opened, and Andy walked in, hugging him from behind. Are you alright? And he asked. No, the media thinks it's my fault. They go always, but they don't know Mort is out to blame. Tony said, reading the news report, seeing the detective of Cabot Cove done again screwing up. Tony's tears brimmed deeply. His mental health did play more. And he grabbed the newspaper and threw it in the trash. He thought that Tony didn't see it and hugged him deeply. Media never knew the truth that actually Sheriff Mort was the man who caused everything. Even though Tony wasn't even on the case back then, Sheriff Mort didn't even have Jessica back then either. All of his past cases Tony had to solve because Mort kept screwing up. So Mort needed a detective on his case when Jessica couldn't help when Jessica was out of town, so he asked Jessica's nephew to do it. Tony just laid his head on the table, trying to grab the fork again, but Andy grabbed it away from him. Please don't do that, and he just said. But I need to lose pain, Tony said, his eyes dwelling with tears. Mort immediately walked in and said, I'll go fix it. Immediately left, knowing that the media, the Cabot Cove press, had started writing bad things about Tony, and now Andy knew what Mort was doing. Mort knew that he screwed up, so now he had to fix it. Knowing that every time that Tony was to help Ben Mort knew that the Cabot Cove press was up to blame as well, and he had to do something for someone like Tony. Hope you guys enjoy. Peace out here, squad. Peace out here, squad.